Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles, The Legend of Zelda D&D 50 Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I am Articulate T. It has been a minute. I went on holiday and then promptly caught COVID when I came back, but I'm all better now, which is honestly, I feel like I honestly feel like I got lucky with what happened. So
There's more than what you can say about me.
But let it just be a reminder that even though restrictions around the world are lifting, please wear your masks, get vaccinated, keep social distance, be careful. That's all we ask. But anyway, onwards to the game, and always when it comes to the game, I have with me Renji Vox, being played by the Netherlad.
That's Baron Renji Vox.
Oh yes, of course, Baron Renji Vox, being played by the Netherlad.
Hello.
I have Baron Hikan Sio, being played by Avrdal.
It's okay. You don't need it for me. I really don't know the difference anyway.
I have Baron Zaiden Shari, being played by Robot Pirate.
Oh there.
And I have Baron Max, being played by Kishrith.
One day Max will find out what a baron actually is.
One day Max will find out what a baron is and be promptly disappointed.
And probably just not give a shit.
Yeah. So, what happened last time, everybody?
Well, last time on Hyrule Chronicles, the Storm's Eye had returned to Hyrule Castle Town, bringing back Princess Sophitia. Meeting up with good friend Hikan, they head out to the commercial district. Zaidenchari goes to Diamond in the Rough to trade some diamonds and asks how quickly Miss Romaine can procure 50,000 gold pieces worth of diamonds, causing some confusion with his party members. This also brings up the matter of payment for services rendered, as the Storm's Eye has been quite active in the last few weeks. After a quick trip to Sebastian's normal general store, Honest Guys, to sell off some of Renji Vox's unused equipment, and Crossroads cross-stitching to get an outfit for Max, they return home for a nice family meal with Maxwell as well. Heading to the castle's throne room, the Storm's Eye meet with the king. Prince Rufus presents them with a monetary reward of 9,000 gold pieces per person, as well as bestowing the title of Baron to each member of the Storm's Eye, including Kai Kuana, plus a piece of land in the west of Hyrule, with the Artemark Manor and Artemark Dungeon on it. Kai offers to survey the land for the party after checking in with Goron City, and that is where we left off.
Okay. So, we return to our party. I say after you have had your have been provided with your titles and your monetary reward. Was there anything else that you would like to do in the evening before heading back to bed? It is nighttime at this point. Is
Uriel open?
Probably not.
It's bedtime.
Bedtime.
Even wizards of the School of Capitalism need to go to bed.
Well, then, beforehand, I don't think Renji has anything in particular to do. He does have some leftover spell slots in case a certain party member wishes to inquire.
I mean, do you want to get the sparring done in the evening, or do you want to get it done in the morning?
What does Hikan want to do? Because Renji doesn't know about this.
Hikan's fine sparring whenever. I mean, it's been 5 days in game. But they normally do it in the morning, so that's when Hikan would expect it.
Okay.
Bedtime.
Okay. So, you head back to the house. It's a as you walk through the streets, it is nice and quiet and empty. Everyone seems to be kind of heading off to bed. You spy like a couple of people out on the going out on the town just to enjoy an evening out. You see like pairs of town's guards just wandering through, checking everything, kind of making sure all is well. As you walk through, you can see a couple of homes, like the lights in the windows go out as people turn out their candles or dim their fires and everything. And you return home. It's
one thing I wanted to ask before a long rest. Hey, Zayden,
Yeah.
do you have that you can see people that aren't here thing ready for the day, or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll ask tomorrow night then.
Should I get it ready for tomorrow night?
I wanted to see if we could find where Gorspire's at. So that way we know kind of where he is. But
Okay.
if you want to have it for something else, it can wait. You got a little bit more pressing things to go.
How long will it take us to get to our destination without wind walking?
I think the last time you traveled in that general direction, it took roughly well, let's see. How far is it? It's about 35 miles in a straight line through Mazro. So let's say it's around about 38 to 40 miles following the road. Going on foot, that's probably going to take you the entire day. Going on horseback, it's probably going to take you half a day at the longest.
Casual reminder, our horses are in Kakariko right now.
So I will prepare. Bring. Decide all, then say, "Oh, I'll get it ready for you."
Thank you.
All right. Cool. So you guys head into the house. It is nice and quiet. You find yourselves just kind of like heading in. I forget, was Maximus staying at the house, or is he still in the dungeon? I can't remember if we decided if he was at the house now or if he was staying in the dungeon for the time being.
Until the royals say that he's allowed in the house, he's in the dungeons.
Okay. So you get inside, you find that Maxwell is already in bed. And as you kind of quietly enter in and settle in for the night. You get a nice early night. Mara hasn't come back. She's probably, but she did say that she was going to be fairly busy anyway. So possible that she's still either at the castle or somewhere else in order to try and restock her potions, maybe do a little bit of paperwork before venturing out again. Like maybe formalize some of the reports before heading back out. But you settle in your own beds for the first time in friggin' forever. I can't
Don't know what you're talking about.
You settle in your own
your
rooms,
own floor,
on your own floor for the first time in. I can't remember if the house was furnished before or after you had already departed on this journey.
I think it was after.
Yeah. So it's nice. It's a nice, pleasant evening. And you settle in. Maybe it's I would say that you probably have that trouble getting to sleep as you would when being in an unfamiliar environment for the first time. But then again, you guys have been traveling around forever. You've probably developed a sense of normalcy with that, and have likely probably get to sleep a little faster because now you're not camping out in the wild where something can murder you. You're in your own home. But yeah, you settle in. You have a nice uneventful long rest. It's honestly rather pleasant. Whatever nightmares or disturbances in your sleep that you may experience are more or less just the usual set of nightmares and flashing images. Nothing seems to stick out to you even as you wake up. And it only being 4 hours, it's still dark outside, and Maxwell is still asleep. But it is, you do feel well rested. You get all your spell slots back, and everything else that you might get upon having a long rest. Yeah.
I think Renji's a little bit grumpy waking up. And if anyone were to ask him, he is going to requisition from the castle his original mattress and bedding because personal habits.
It's fine.
Hikan just kind of like shrugs. Alfred's like spoiled rotten little bit.
Max is just kind of like, see, this is why I don't bother. No. Nah, Max doesn't care. He's just gonna sit downstairs and read.
Okay. Sit yourself downstairs and read. I'm guessing Hikan and Renji, you guys go off and spar. Where are you going to go and spar?
We have a little bit of a
We do have a little
courtyard.
bit. Yeah.
You do have a little bit of a courtyard, but you are in the middle of a residential area.
Right. Yeah.
You can roll stealth checks if you would like to spar quietly.
I'm going to spar quietly with Thunderstep.
I was gonna say, do you want to use that spell we talked about?
I mean, there is a different spell that I can use.
Go for it.
And like, if Hikan asks me to use magic, instead of Thunderstep, I will attempt to use Vampiric Touch.
Look at that one real quick. That way I know what its
That
components are.
is a melee spell attack against a creature.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, as you guys kind of get ready, Hikan takes a deep breath and quietly, not too loud, obviously, because it's still the middle of the night, technically. Hikan is going to look Renji in the eyes and goes, I have been practicing something, and I know we normally keep things kind of, what's the word, like just hand to hand, but I don't want you to hold back this time. So if you want to use magic, especially because we got a little bit until Uriel's probably opens up, now'd be the time to do it.
Alright, just give me a little context here. Do you want me to use magic on you, or?
I think so. It's something that I've been practicing over the past couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't know how well it'll work until I actually have someone using magic.
Okay, well, I think I start like gathering the energy to use Thunderstep. Then I realize we're in a residential area here, and it's very early. So instead, I move towards Hikan, and I cast a Vampiric Touch.
As a reaction,
Yeah.
technically, this is just to make it your easy. This is just to see if I hit your EC.
Okay.
Okay.
You do.
Flavor-wise, because I really don't think you want to do 16 damage to Hikan.
I do not.
Hikan is going to in the blink of an eye, halfway through casting your spell, is going to grab the hand at the wrist and cover your mouth as you were saying the words to use Vampiric Touch. And then let go almost as quickly. Everything's like,
Oh. Whoa.
cool, I got it. I figured it out.
That is scary.
Hopefully now, like, a lot of the stuff that happened beforehand with other mages doesn't happen anymore.
Right. Huh.
Okay.
Wait, does that... Like, how... Did I notice anything about my spell?
Technically, your spell still would have gone off.
Okay.
Because I didn't, like, as Artie and I have discussed, I didn't stun you or anything like that. Your spell still would have gone off. It's just flavors that way. I don't take damage and you don't take damage. It's just I prevented you from doing the casting or finishing the casting type of thing.
Fair enough. I am curious about the mechanics myself.
It still burns the slot, but
Yeah.
We do have time. I will take a short rest.
Yeah, that's fine. You're more than welcome to have a short rest. Zayden, as Max is reading and Renji and Hikan are sparring, what is it that you do to pass the time between now and sunrise?
Probably go for a walk out into the fields and stuff outside of town.
Okay. You do have the what is the word? You do have to speak to the guards to ask them to let you through, because normally what happens at night is that they bring up the drawbridges outside to keep everybody inside safe. But it doesn't take much convincing. They just kind of let you through. It just takes a little bit longer than expected, but you are able to head out into the fields outside of town. Are you going to the farming areas that's just outside the wall, or just going further afield until there is just nothing but rolling plains?
Probably just go far afield. I would also note that as long as they don't mind it, I do have a broom of flying, so I can just go over the wall. They don't need to lower the bridge for me. They just need to be happy with it.
You could also just be a bird.
Yeah, but then I have to take a rest to get birding back.
Yeah,
but you could.
Isn't it a short rest to get birds back?
True.
It's fine. Either way, you managed to convince the guards to let you pass, or otherwise just assure them of their safety and the safety of the town by flying over the wall. You get out to the rolling plains of Hyrule Castle town, of Hyrule Fields. It is a beautiful, clear night, and away from the city, you can see the many stars of the night sky, undisturbed by light pollution, and there is a nice chill breeze that keeps everything cool. Because I would very much like one of those right now.
No, we don't get that.
What do you do out in this nocturnal nature?
Probably just relax, find a good place to sit down and watch the sunrise.
Aw. Yeah. You do find a nice spot to just relax in. Out of curiosity, which direction out of town did you go? Did you go west, south, north, east?
Towards the sunrise.
Towards the sunrise. Okay, so that would be to the east then. You find it a little bit. You find yourself as you walk along, as you've been walking along the path out of town to get out onto the fields. You find yourself going down the same path that would have led you to your first encounter with Bruno the Boulder Thrower, who is now Bruno the Broken Nose, who is now Bruno the Sailor, I suppose. He couldn't afford another B word. He's not a bosun. He doesn't know how to fix a ship. But yeah, you kind of just sit and relax and watch the sun rise over the horizon, just over the peaks of the Death Mountain Range, yeah, it is otherwise a pleasant morning, yeah, and the sun rises for, as you would expect, everybody, and slowly and surely, as people get to their business, as the morning begins, the quiet streets of Hyrule Castle Town suddenly come alive with energy, as many of the members of the residential district leave their homes to head to work. The commercial district becomes alive with commerce, and it's a brand new day.
This time I do use Thunderstep.
Wakey, wakey!
Kaboom! New spell dropped.
That's an at 20 saving throw.
Nice.
Excellent.
Everyone's
You can
getting ready.
roll high.
Yeah, on occasion. I'm guessing it's time for us to go to Uriel's then.
I believe so.
Okay. As you all gather up for the morning, Maxwell in turn.
Yeah. May as well just accompany him.
Yeah. Yeah, Maxwell in turn gets up and he he takes up a very ragged looking book and a couple of pencils, one of which is severely burned, and he will accompany you onwards to Uriel for his day of learning. And much in the same way that the rest of town is awake and alive, the nobles district is not really much different. It might be a bit quieter as the far more well-to-do members of the population of Hyrule Kingdom can enjoy a lie-in because they don't really need to get up in the morning to make their way. But you do see a number of the servants and guards that are there busying themselves, getting ready to go. But eventually you get to the door of one Uriel and his magnificent magical machinations. Much as always, you head indoors. You open the door and you see within the long room of gold-plated lock boxes along the walls and the golden floors and ceilings and the blue candle flames that illuminate the place, and almost as if he is not perturbed at all by by the early hours in which he is awake, you see the ever reliable Uriel as he looks over and says, "Well, hey, welcome back. It's been a while since I've seen y'all. Come on in. What can I do for you today in Uriel's magnificent magical machinations?"
Good morning.
I have this, and I give him the receipt that Kai gave Hikan last time.
Oh, very interesting. I'll be with you in a second. And he disappears briefly and comes back with a little magical implement where he goes over to one of the lock boxes and he waves it in front of it and unlocks it and pulls it out, and he presents you with a kind of a bundle, and he hands it to you. It says, "I believe that this was to be left in your care, from what I've been foretold. Feel free to go ahead and open that. Let me know what you think. I hope it's to your liking."
Okay. And Hikan unwraps the bundle,
Mm-hmm.
which, as it's described in the book that it's in, it's just a needle. And Hikan looks at it very confused and goes, is there instructions with it?
Well, I am no artist, but that there is a magical tattoo needle. If you find yourself a decent tattoo artist in town, which I'm sure that there are, a couple maybe is hanging around in the more military aspects of the town, you know, them soldiers, they do like their tough tattoos. You can have yourself adorned with a magical implement. The magic is stored in the needle. You can have it look however you want. You just have to make sure that it is the effect that you are looking for.
Okay.
If I recall your skills correctly, I believe that this should be something to your liking.
Okay. Oh. Well,
Max is giving you the same squint he gives everything that is like modify yourself with more magic.
Hikan didn't buy this for himself.
Yeah, but he's still giving it that squint like,
Okay.
As a bit of a heads up, son. The magic on this is reliant on it being attuned to you, like much in any other way that many of the magical items that I provide are. If, however, you find yourself at the limit of your soul's capacity for magic, that is to say, if you attune yourself to too many things and you want to get rid of the attunement from this tattoo, it will simply suck the ink right out of it, remove the tattoo, becomes a needle again. You can reapply it, it just means that you won't be getting benefits from it. It'll just be the needle.
Oh, okay.
to limits of your soul's capacity, like 3, for example.
Yeah. Unless you want
Unless
to
you
fancy
happen to
pants
be-
artificers, in which case they get 6. It's just...
Beat me to it.
Jammy bastards.
And I believe we decided no one else wanted the Helm of Telepathy, so, for the sake of brevity, if Uriel is willing to sell it, or buy it, I will sell it to Uriel.
Sure. Let me have a look-see. He kind of, like, takes the... Because I remember the Helm of Telepathy actually being like a wooden band so that Zayden could wear it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It is uncommon as its base.
If and you want the money straight up front, I'll be willing to part with 200 gold pieces for this. However, if you want to trade this in for a different magical item, I'd be willing to go for 275.
I don't think that there's anything that I want, but I will leave it on the table for my friends while I go get this taken care of. And I will begin attuning or finding somebody to help me attune to my tattoo.
Okay.
I myself realizing more and more how dangerous our line of work is. I grab the shield off of my back, and I was wondering if you could either modify this shield, or maybe you have something on offer that I might be able to use that gives a little bit extra protection.
Well, a basic enchantment will help you out there. Let me see. He kind of takes the shield and examines it and says, "Are you particularly attached to this kind of shield, sir?"
Not really. No. It's not something that I have. I've used this for a while, and it's served me well.
But you don't have any like emotional attachments to it.
No, if I really wanted to, I could have this modified at the castle blacksmith, but that's mundane arts.
Well, let me have a look here and see. And he kind of examines it, kind of weighs it, looks at the dents and the damage that might have occurred. It is given how well used it is, at least compared to something brand new. Well now, I believe that it depends mostly on the amount of magic that you want to be put into this shield. Of course, there are other aspects that you could consider, sir. Allow me to enlighten you slightly. He says, he kind of takes a shield and he kind of like uses, like he waves his hand and he holds it aloft, possibly like a mage hand or something like that. And he says, now, this shield with a basic enchantment will cost you roughly 500 gold pieces for the base level additional enchantment, or 5,000 gold pieces for something with a bit more kick. Of course, just having it be more defensive may not exactly be what's in your mind. So you could, at the very least, have something a bit more, he kind of like waves his hand a bit, esoteric, let's say. You could potentially make it capable of attracting a variety of, how you say, missiles. Of course, in tradition, shield of missile attraction is typically kind of a cursed item. It kind of forces arrows to come at you and have a chance of hitting you. But you could utilize it as a form of defensive tactic for your allies who are not likely to have ways of defending against copious amounts of arrows, if you understand. But I can understand if that is... I understand if that is not exactly what is on your mind. You could, if you want to, have something that is particularly capable of protecting you against magic effects, but unfortunately something like that, and the other thing I was going to offer y'all is, well, it's very expensive, because it's very rare and very powerful in their own right. And he disappears briefly to open another lockbox, and as he does so, this lockbox physically changes its shape and size to match what would be this resplendent shield of gold and jade and everything. It's very... At first you might consider it gaudy, but it's very clearly expensive. He says, this is what we call a spell guard shield. Essentially, it means that you are extra protected against forms of magical attacks. The other interesting thing, he says, turning to another lockbox and opening it, this one not changing its size, as he presents you with what appears to be a very small kind of like pin, like a little model of a shield, if anything. He says, now this is something that's a bit more requested because a lot of warriors like to keep both their hands free. And he kind of flings it in the air and snaps his fingers, and then it hovers by itself before a shimmering turquoise energy in the shape of a heater shield emits from it, and it hovers in front of Uriel in a kind of protective fashion. He says, this is an animated shield. With it, for a limited amount of time, for a couple of times per day, you are capable of having it protect you as if you were basically having yourself a third arm, and with it you can then use both your hands to do other things. Now, both the spell guard shield and the animated shield will run you a lot of money, and by a lot I mean each one is worth 50,000 gold.
That is not something I have on hand at the moment. So, what I think would work is the more advanced enchantment that you had offered for the shield that I currently have. Another thing that I am a little curious for, and I grab the currently unattuned Pearl of Power, because I'm still using the role of the Pact Keeper that I'm attuned to, is, would you be able to add that advanced enchantment and work this pearl into the shield, as it were? I mean, I understand if that's beyond your capabilities.
Well, no, it's not beyond my capabilities. It's perfectly doable, I think. It's just it'll take some time. Like, enchanting the shield with a basic obdurative effect in order to give you more protection than a shield normally would, that'd be done within the period of at least an hour, or at most an hour. Taking something from an already existing magical item and then providing it to the actual function of the other one, in addition to enchanting it, will cost a little more time and money and resources that would normally be going into making a different kind of magical item. If I was to do this, I would be asking for, at the very least, 6,200 gold pieces in total for both enchanting the shield as a at its more powerful effect, as well as adding the effects of that pearl into that shield.
And that's the cost. How much time do you think it would need?
At least one day.
At least a day. And would it be possible for you to add the enchantment within the hour, and then I could come back a later time to add the pearl enchantment?
Of course. That would just run you the basic 5,000 for the basic enchantment on the shield, and then the additional 1,200 you can provide me when you come back and have the time to have the pearl added to your shield.
I think that would be a good idea. I do not wish to be parted with the added protection with our current goal in mind.
Oh.
I mean, we can always go tomorrow.
I would rather not have to wait.
Very well. If you'll excuse me, I'll take care of this right now. And he takes up the shield. He will take his payment, of course, and he will head off to enchant the shield. It takes him about 40 minutes or so.
I will pay 500 platinum.
Okay. Very well. Thank you for the money. He will then provide you with the enchanted shield. It looks a little bit in better condition. Like most of the scratches and stuff have been scuffed out. There's been a little bit of additional filigree and everything in order to provide the magical effect on it. But it provides you with a +2 shield.
And this used to be like a common castle guard's shield, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it does look unassuming for something that is actually quite strong.
Right. That's not too bad. Yeah. That's good.
He does mention if you wanted to change the physical appearance to make it look like like at a glance it's a magic shield, you would have to probably go and speak to a blacksmith about it to get it adjusted for its shape and repaired and stuff.
Fair enough. Then I'm going to bring that in and take out my current shield. Kaboom. AC of 22.
Excellent. Okay. Did anybody have anything they would like from Uriel? You can even ask out of character, and we can.
I mean, you already know what Max wants out of character, but in character he doesn't.
Let's see.
In that case, I would as I get my shield back, just inspect it, glance over at the others. Does anyone else want to do some shopping, or are we done here?
I'm alright.
Glance over at Max.
He is his usual quiet self.
Well,
I'm sitting in a corner with a needle against his arm, like, do you have anything that could make magic stronger for certain things?
mm, well, providing a basic plus a basic bonus to a magical thing, as it were. I can do. It might be a little more. Well, it might be a fair bit more expensive than you would expect, but I believe I've done that at least once for y'all. If I mean, I could make it stronger if you'd like. It just might cost a bit. But I do have alternatives. I have Nehru stones that can provide you with some additional magical protection as they kind of float around your head. He kind of like gives us a glance to each of you. He says, "Well, let's see now."
What about something for like different like trying to figure out how to ask this in character, that's the toughest freaking thing for
That's
somebody.
right. That's okay. He kind of like looks at each of you and says, "Okay, so how about this then? I've recently acquired a stock of newer items that are better suited for non-spellcasters of my sort of persuasion. I thought it best, considering the amount of work I've been doing to help dear Maxwell here get a hold of his magics. Gave me a bit more of an understanding as to how it works. He goes over to another lockbox, opens it, and he like rolls out this beautiful looking green cloak that one half of it looks like it's composed of leaves and the other half of it is composed of like mossy earth. He says it's not exactly as impressive as some of the stuff that you have on hand, but it is capable of allowing those who draw their magic from nature to blend into nature as if they belong.
Okay.
Eyes turn to Poseidon.
Mechanically speaking, you can use the cloak as a spellcasting focus, and you are also able to use hide as a bonus action while you are lightly obscured. There's something I think you can already do, but
I think it's still an action for us.
Yes, I think I can already do that. I have several magic foci already.
What about for people like any kind of just gestures at the maxes?
well, let's see. It's actually kind of tough trying to find any kind of magical item that would work for someone whose magic is a part of their very being, you know? But that is not to say that we don't have the capability of just doing it for y'all. He goes over to another lockbox, he unlocks it, and then he takes out essentially a fairly heavy chest, which he moves over to the counter at the back of the room. He then uses a different stone to unlock that chest, and inside it appears that he has found. He presents you with various looking shards that exist as part of a what was it? That kind of look like they contain chaotic magical energy. It's as if someone has solidified magic in an ice block and then broken it. He says, these are essence shards. You can, as you wish, attach it to any kind of small item, and you can also utilize it as a focus of your spells. It is as magical as you are, but it can be a little hard to control in certain cases. But you can utilize those spells in order to basically gain an additional benefit, so to speak. he has he kind of like indicates to one end of the lockbox and says, "These are elemental essence shards. They take their magic from the elemental planes. We got one here of air, of earth, and of water. This one is a Far Realm shard. It's a little chaotic, and he kind of, as he gestures to it, there's kind of this. It's a darkness that swirls with eyes and tentacles, and just doesn't look terribly pleasant.
Speak for yourself.
This one here takes its magic from a realm called the Feywild. And this one here takes its magic from some of the outer planes. These being the realms that most, if not all, of the gods dwell in. They focus their magic on the aspects of law and chaos, and also the physical manifestations of good and evil. Depending on which one you want, it's going to cost you a different amount of cash for each one, because they're, in various different terms, harder and easier to come by. The Feywild shard, for example, will cost you 500 gold pieces. All the others, on the other hand, will cost you 5,000 gold pieces per shard.
Just looking at what the things do.
So many effects. They're really cool.
I'm gonna flip a coin. 'Cause- One. Okay. X will kind of find himself drawn a bit to the chaotic outer essence one.
Okay.
It sounds exciting.
Interesting. He says, well, let's have a look. Interesting. He kind of like picks up the shard and he shows it to you. Inside is a kaleidoscope of chaos and confusion, roiling winds and flashing lights, all kind of cascading in on themselves, as if some form of elaborate puzzle that is very difficult to kind of wrap your head around. It's almost hypnotic in a way. He says, if you're wanting this one, then as said, that'll cost you 5,000 gold pieces. If you don't have the money on that right now, I can always put it to one side. I can give it a little bit of time, and if you wanted to come back and get it, then it is yours. Of course, after a certain amount of time, if someone else comes in and claims it, then, well, you'll just have to wait until the next stock comes in.
I never said I didn't have the money.
Oh, of course.
As he's thinking, raises the gauntlet focus that he's been using so far, which is just a +1. It's like, can anything else be done with this?
Well, if you want the effect of the shard attached to the gauntlet, so that it does not put as much of a tax upon your soul to attune to it, then we can do that. As much in the same way as with the shield and that pearl of power there, that will be 6,200. But did you have anything in mind for additional things you'd like done with it?
Well, Max doesn't. Because the other thing I was looking at out of character was the +2 Bloodwell Vial, but Max is never going to ask for that.
Okay. Let's see how much that goes out.
Which is rare.
Rare. Oh yeah, so it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I see why
I
you
can
want that one.
use it to get stuff back on a short rest if I need to spend hit dice.
Damn it! I kind of want that for my spellcaster now too. My sorcerer. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's good,
It's
Very good.
but it does require me to take some damage, but it's good.
Yeah.
Unless I could spend hit dice without actually having taken damage.
I'd say we probably could. Like, you're already like to spend hit dice with that when you have full hit points is already at a detriment to yourself anyway. So doing that
Yeah.
to gain back sorcery points, I don't see the problem you doing that even if you have full health.
Yeah.
So yeah, he says, well, I don't have anything that can be done to it specifically, but well, I do and I don't. He heads off to get yet another lockbox open, and inside, he presents a vial which contains a very smoky essence in it, a very red smoky essence. He says, it's interesting. The magic in here, it does require the use of your actual blood. But with it, it allows it to contain and continue the essence of your blood, and the actual magical properties therein. It will allow you to do a little more, be a little more flexible with how you control your magics. And, yeah. This, as said, can provide an additional focus of 5,000 gold pieces. But it will be stronger than what you got on your arm at the moment. And for an additional, for the standard 6,200, I can transfer the properties of this magical item onto the gauntlet. If you are also willing to pay an additional 5,000 for the shard as well, I can do the same with that. So in total, that'd be
eyeing
11,200.
I am 25 gold short of that, but
Does Max look very interested in this?
like he's torn between interested and concerned over how the vial works.
If interest is shown, Hikan, with the needle still on his on one arm, grabs his money bag with the other one and goes, "I trust you to count it out," and just tosses it at Max.
Max doesn't catch it and then has to pick it up.
That's fine. You said how short were you?
25 gold is like basically nothing at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do that then.
Okay. As said, it might take a fair amount of time to get this one sorted. So he kind of looks back to Renji and says, if I'm gonna do this now, I can also apply the pearl to the shield as well. It just means that you'll have to wait until tomorrow to come and collect it.
Crossing his arms, Renji just looks a little bit disappointed, but I mean, if we're doing this, then I suppose why not? And counts out 120 platinum,
Okay.
and as well as slides the Pearl of Power.
I'm down to 4 silver and 4 copper.
I did put the Helm of Telepathy on there. I don't know if that was taken into account because I had to step away for a little
so
bit.
it
Not
is.
yet. That is minus 275.
Yeah.
You can take that if you want.
If it pays for the difference for your stuff.
As I say, you could take 25 off of the other thing. That'd be 250. That could be
Alright.
split either way.
Yeah,
Don't mind that. Okay.
and then you
I'm happy to
can
do it
have the
either way.
250. I just need the 25. So then he can
Okay.
keep his money.
Then
Okay.
I get 25 platinum pieces back.
Okay. Excellent. Right. So, Uriel thanks you for your money. And with magic items bundled in his arms, after putting everything away and relocking drawers and everything, will ask politely, is there anything else that I might be able to help you with before I begin work for the day?
Doesn't work.
Well, different kind of work, I suppose.
He said he's as much a wizard as he is a businessman, so he's got to do the wizard work now.
He kind of like points at Hikan and is like, good, someone remembers. But if there's nothing else that y'all need from me, I will begin the enchantment process and have this with you by tomorrow morning.
Alright.
Okay. Excellent. And he follows up and disappears into a back room. So, is there anything else that you folks would like to take care of before, like, if there's anything specific you wanted or needed to do in Hyrule Castletown? Otherwise, we can always skip to the next morning. I do believe Max probably
I have
needs to
clothes to pick
disappear.
up tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the Temple of Theory and get a bunch of pamphlets.
Okay. You go. You grab a bunch of pamphlets. They're like, well, it's.
I will flat out tell them that this is to get people to stop following an undead cult.
Good. Then go. Then go with grace, my child. It's like, I see. Got it.
I just like say that, and then they give me like a bag full of books too. Just like, okay. No.
Yeah. But yes, unless you guys had anything else you needed to do, you spend the day just kind of catching up on the various different things. You have another restful, maybe not restful, maybe restful now that you've got a proper mattress night at home.
Well, if we're gonna have a whole another night, I prepared the scrying, so.
Right.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind scrying on Gore Spire, please.
Okay.
So, what I'm thinking is the best time to do it will be like very late at night when he should be sleeping. I don't know if that would give him any negative to resisting it, but at the very least, maybe.
Okay. So, if you'd like to click the spell, so I can. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. So, you have met the target, so it's a +5 to the save. But you don't have a picture or likeness, or a body part or hair or like. That'd be +5. I suppose that kind of cancels the bonus out, doesn't it? Hold on. Let me have a look. There's my compendium. There it is. Right.
God, how that's written is just so weird.
Yeah. Alright, so, possessional garment, body part, lock of hair, or like. Oh, right, so the connection save modifier is a minus to their roll. Yeah, you have met target +0. Okay, so it is just a flat roll. What's your save DC?
17.
Okay. I need to actually get Gaul Spire's sheet up so I know what his modifier is. It's a wisdom save, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Resources, NPCs. Interesting.
He was not very wise because he did not recognize the giant emblazoned Sheikah eye on our clothes.
Oh no. He only has a +1 to his wisdom, so he needs a 16 or higher in order to not be scryed upon. He has rolled a natural 3.
Yay.
So I have to use another 2 attempts on him.
But yeah, so it is late in the evening. You kind of sit down and you focus on Gorspire. The hulking, lightning-wielding, axe-swinging moblin that you encountered on your way to Zora's domain on foot. Or at least, no, it was a Drumnik thing. It was a Drumnik, but it was on the same way. But anyway, your eyesight travels over a great distance before it eventually settles within the midst of the plains that sit in the raging war. To the still active war to the west, roughly here.
We are not on the world map. We're on
in
the
Hyrule
West
Castle
maps.
All right, yes, I will transfer you back to the world map. That makes sense. Thank you for reminding me. There we go. So he's roughly here.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah. He appears to be sitting in the middle of his camp. There are a number of other moblins, and there are also a bunch of other blins and non-blins. Just general general bandits. But from the looks of it, they're just kind of relaxing. Just enjoying the night as far as it can go. Feasting upon...
I gotta say, that's not bad writing for my mouse.
Oh yeah, that's actually really good. It's more legible than my
That's not
normal
bad.
handwriting with a pen in real life.
The one time I will give myself a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
you earned it.
Don't push it.
They are more or less just enjoying the nighttime air out in the middle of this of what appears to be a battlefield. There are broken weapons and banners in all directions. You don't believe that's what they caused that, but they are just kind of setting up camp and enjoying the night, feasting on meats and drinking and being loud and raucous as one would expect from a stereotypical bandit camp, though Gorspire is just kind of sitting and quietly observing everything around him. More often than not, he is taking a potion off of his bandolier and he is just quaffing the whole thing and throwing the glass over his shoulder.
I'm assuming healing potions?
Yes, they are very clearly healing potions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sidon will look up to Hikan, who I assume would be there at the time that he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So, he appears to be to the west, in the midst of the war.
All right.
Captain.
Then we will run into him eventually. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, with the that sorted, you can, if you would like to, if there's anything else you want to do, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, we can just fast forward to the next morning. Where you acquire the last bits and pieces that you need before making your way down to Mazro.
I am good to go if everyone else is good to go.
I believe with the shield and with Max's focus, we are good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also.
And I've made myself a shield of power.
Indeed. You can see it
I've,
does look
I've
a bit
called
more.
I've called mine the Bloodwell Claw of Chaos.
Nice. I do think
I
like
love my edgy bullshit. It's great.
yes. I do think that the pearl is like embedded on the front, like visible on the front.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say if there's like there would probably be more embellishment to the shield now. It does have more indication that it is a magical shield.
Right.
But yeah, you also get to pick up Max's clothes. Yeah, this kind of dark blue and navy sort of cloak, which looks very good. There's like a like kind of a belt around the middle, and it's very comfortable and form-fitting. It very much suits Max's aesthetic. Like Ike has done a very good job, and it even comes with like a leather strap that goes across the shoulder with a couple of notches where you can put like components or anything that you might need. It's it just looks very good. But
like
yes, I believe you may like Ike. That's fine. But yes, now suitably armed and dressed, you make your way south. Unfortunately, Mara is still very busy, but does maintain her promise that she will try and meet up with you guys. When
we
you get
check
there.
in.
Yeah, yeah. She just apologizes profusely.
Let her know that we're going now and all that stuff.
Yeah, much like when you first met her, probably while she was at the library, she's kind of sitting at the front desk with a mountain of paperwork and is just like, I'll catch up with you as soon as I can. I'm really sorry. It's so much to kind of do. I haven't even finished my alchemy stuff. But I'll be there as soon as I can, I promise.
No need to apologize.
By the way, did Hikan give his sending stone to anyone?
Yes. It was tomorrow.
It was tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. So, with that all settled, you begin your journey southwards, on foot, I believe, and it's still fairly early in the morning. So you have, so by the time you would get there, it would probably be evening. The sun wouldn't have gone down just yet, but you would have at least gotten there. It would have taken most of the day. The weather is still fairly pleasant, but the one thing you do notice on the journey down south is how few people there are that are coming up that road. There are guards along the road, as you would expect, but they have their stations. They're not really going anywhere. But there are no like merchant caravans. There's not even like a lone rider going back and forth. It's just there's nothing coming to you. And that emptiness kind of pervades a little bit. With your passive perceptions, which even though I do not have the sheet open at this moment in time, I know already
It's
your
a 20
perceptions
for
are
me.
monstrous. Yeah.
I think Max has the weakest, and his is 16.
Yep.
Also, I do have detect magic on like just
always.
forever.
Yeah. As you get closer and closer to Mazro, you notice quite quickly that nature here is sparse. Like, it's not like the things are dying out much. It's not like it was when you were getting close to the Cerebrogoma's lair. It's just that things seem to be avoiding this place. Which is odd, because the rest of it, like, it's a very kind of subtle absence. Like, at a glance, looking over the place, there's a pleasant blue sky with just a few clouds. There's still trees and everything. It's just quiet. Just very quiet. And as you get closer to Mazro and the sun begins to descend and the blue sky turns to a nice pleasant orange hue, you see before you the village of Mazro, much as it was when you had passed it a couple of days ago. There are no banners on the gates. You can see the obelisks are still kind of sitting there, the little 5-foot-tall spires of stone just kind of sitting there as they are. The one thing that you do notice quite quickly, Renji, is that despite the fact that they have, as discussed with your companions, words of abjuration on them, they do not give off any kind of magic.
So, does it look like there used to be magic on it, or are they just...
Maybe they just haven't been activated yet.
That's also possible.
Yeah.
Do I notice, like, are they part of, like, any prepared magic?
Give me either to discern the kind of magical theory behind it. Give me Arcana. To discern like the stonework and everything. Give me a perception.
Considering Matt's got a very close look at them, could I give Renji advantage?
You can.
Okay, then can I roll one or both?
You can roll both. It's just something that you might like be quite focused on for a bit.
Arcana check first.
Okay.
That's a 22.
Okay.
Perception check second. That's a 24.
Okay. So let's start with the perception check. This is very new carved stone. This is the kind of thing that a stonemason would have made on a statue very recently. It doesn't have any of the weathering that comes with being out there for a while. At best estimate, you could say it's probably been there for like a week, maybe at best. And as far as like the inscription on it goes, it's fairly legible magical scripture, but it's not like the best. And it definitely differs from obelisk to obelisk. So it seems like that one was made and then they immediately moved on to the next one. As far as magical scripture and theory goes, the actual spells inscribed on them just appear to be a kind of general warding spell. Something that would not necessarily erect a mighty force field around the village in case of an attack. It's something that just kind of dissuades things to not attack. Like the syntax of the spells basically act as sort of just a gentle influence to anything hostile that might be approaching the village, but depending on your disposition to Mazro and its cult, you probably already could tell that's not working.
Right. And is this also like, is this more like bug repellent, or is this more like a physical barrier?
I suppose the best thing that I can provide as an equivalency is, you know, those devices that you can buy that you can plug into a wall that supposedly release a high frequency sound only spiders can hear in order to ward off spiders, but clearly with the spiders in the room, they're not really doing its job.
Or the ones they use to get rid of teenagers that don't work.
Yeah, that's
Mosquitoes.
yeah, that's basically the equivalent.
Okay.
So you don't know whether or not these people have been scammed, or whoever was in charge of making these obelisks just didn't do a good enough job, or, as Max might have suggested, maybe they haven't been activated yet.
Can I take the time to see if there's anything beyond this surface level spell?
You might need to get closer for that.
It's true.
Yeah. You might need to, like, depending on how you want to kind of assess things, you might need to actually physically go up and touch the thing.
Okay.
But yeah. Did you want to approach Mazro stealthily, or did you want to just walk in the door?
I think we did want to observe more first, right?
Yeah.
You could like spend a night just watching from somewhere stealthed and then go in the morning to say hi.
Possible, yeah.
Because if I know my spooky cults, they do all their spooky rituals at night.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay.
Because that's when you get all like the stars and shit. You can see them properly.
Yeah.
Unless it's cloudy, and then I don't know, you call the ritual off for the night.
Okay. So, if you wanted to set up camp nearby and observe, what I'll need you to do is you won't need to roll survival. At least one of you's got a decent enough survival, or multiple of you have decent enough survival to find a decent place to camp. If you want your camp to remain unseen, I'm going to need a group stealth check, please.
Oof. Kind of makes sense. Khan's just looking at us just like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking go.
We're going to average that out.
Average that out, and I'm going to say, well, basically what happens is you find a nice place to set up camp that has a decent view of the village. There's even a little rise nearby that you can situate yourself on under cover of trees that mean that you can see a little bit over the wall, maybe. But you situate yourself down. There might be a couple of people that you spy who are like the very sparse wall sentries who are keeping an eye out. One of them might kind of like stop and kind of look in your direction, thinking that they might have seen something, but then they kind of just shake their head and continue on looking about. So from the moment, it looks like no one has made you yet. And you situate yourself with the camp, and you quietly observe. Okay, so how are you doing this? Are you all staying up at the same time and then going to sleep at the same time, or how are you taking watches effectively?
Well, I was going to ask, do we want to just look from afar? Because Zayden at least does have the spyglass, or between Zayden and Renji, we have some very good stealth options for sneaking in and peering about.
And if I go like first, I could burn a spell slot for invisibility for, I believe, at 3rd level. Is that a thing?
2 people.
Yeah, invisibility targets +1. Yes.
Yeah,
2
you get an
targets.
extra one per level.
Yep.
I could pass without traces. You could invisible us. The only way that we can actually be detected is, I suppose, if we make
Max.
sound.
Max,
Max?
Renji, make us smell neutral.
That doesn't last very long. We'd have to be casting it constantly.
Yeah, that's
Fair.
true.
Yeah.
So I guess you two are doing the operation mode,
Okay,
and then the other two of us will do like just keeping an eye out mode.
okay, Renji. If anything goes wrong, I will, I guess, turn into an air elemental and grab you and fly away.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Just let's hope that nobody in Mazro Village outside of yourself can do that.
Uncommon ability.
True, but we
I don't think
do
there's I don't think
have
there's
uncommon
many
tasks.
druids of Zaiden's level around.
Hmm.
Okay. So,
I have a point.
so with plan in motion, you cast your spells. And those of you who those of you who remind me again, is it just 2 of you heading into the village, or is it all of you heading to the village?
I think it's just those two.
Okay.
There's 2
Yeah.
of us.
Ah.
We can make
The-
it if
the-
we
the-
try.
Me and Hikan are just gonna have our rest while you go.
So, you cast your magics.
Mhm.
While I have very little doubt that you will fail, I would still like the rolls just in case.
Okay. So we have passed without trace.
Yeah, pass without trace,
At
which gives you a
30.
plus 10, and it gives you advantage as well because you're invisible.
Okay.
I still get a 30.
A 30 from Zaid and a 33 from Renji.
Okay.
Is anyone in this village capable of rolling a 30?
I mean,
Somehow,
if
Mazro
someone has
has
true sight.
a... yeah, somehow someone in Mazro has true sight. No.
Oh no. There was a dragon here all along.
Yeah. So, basically, what happens is, you head into the village. The gates of the village are still open, so you don't need to clamber over a wall or anything like that. As you are there, you are completely and totally undetectable by the people there. And what you notice are a couple of things. Firstly, first and foremost, besides the robes that they are wearing, everybody is genuinely acting as if they were a normal civilian in a normal village in a regular fantasy setting. They are stopping and talking to each other. They are asking people how each other's days are, going out to just kind of socialize and do various things, finish off a day's work. A number of them have stopped into the one tavern in town that is, and it's a general, there's the noise of a standard amount of business within that area. You note, oddly, that the amount of people who are actively talking about the cult that they are a member of is minimal. They just seem to have accepted that they are part of the cult and just gotten on with their day.
Another thing, whilst being invisible, could I use my Eldritch Sight?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you're looking around, you see very little magic that is happening. You maybe occasionally see 1 or 2 very basic magical items that have been scattered about. One of the guards up on the wall has a magical spear, but the rest of the town is very mundane. Even the statue, this half-completed statue of what you presume to be the Arbiter, is also incredibly mundane. It's just a still being worked upon wood and concrete statue to this random Zalfos who is supposedly the head of this, or at least a high-standing figure of this cult. It's just that's the thing that I think that's the big thing that you take away for the moment, is that everything that you've done to interact with the cult of the Sovereign Hand, the whites that are just heavily garbed in cloaks and everything, just the copious amounts of undead, the fact that supposedly these people are responsible for many people's deaths, including that of Lord Simeon. This seems entirely divorced from that. It's bizarrely pleasant, to the point where it's actually quite unnerving how pleasant it is, and it's also particularly mundane. You would think that there would be some kind of like magical, capable cult leader who's going around making sure. Like, you don't see anybody who is more ornately or regally dressed than anyone here. They all seem to be of the same station. They just wear the robes and they continue as they go along. It's actively, considering your various insights, especially you, Zayden, this seems like the fact that it is mundane is what seems suspicious to you. This definitely demands a bit more of a investigation from before. As you're observing, the church bell sounds. From what you can remember of what currently the time is, it is not on the hour. It just seems to ring. As the bell rings, it's not like a Resident Evil 4 aspect where everyone immediately like stops as if like they've been switched off and turned to regard the bell in great reverence. They just kind of observe the bell, and people who are in the middle of conversation are like, we best get going then, eh? And they just turn and head towards the church. Not everybody
Does the bell
goes.
keep ringing?
It rings roughly 13 times and then stops. Like, maybe there's like a light ping as it is settled in, but otherwise it just kind of stops. Not everybody goes to the church. Some people stay. Like, there are a number of people in the tavern who are still happy to take up their time doing what they're doing, and the guards on the wall don't seem to go anywhere, but the remainder head out that way. You do spy, peering out of a door, looking towards the source of this noise. Sorry, as I accidentally knocked my microphone. You do see Dr. Marshall, who kind of peers out the door, sees everybody going, rolls his eyes, and then closes the door again.
Okay. I think I would like to check if I can hear what Dr. Marshall is saying, or like if he has any conversation.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Okay. The perception check is here. It's a 25.
Okay. You head over to one of the windows of the building he's in. You can see that the building he's in is a very small, humble building that has a little sign out front saying Dr. Marshall's clinician or clinic. And we'll actually get back to something about that a little later. But as you kind of sit under one of the windows near the building, you can hear that he's just kind of going through his papers and moving things around. There's a little clatter of different bits of equipment that he's going, and he seems to be just muttering under his breath of how ridiculous this whole thing is. Like, it's clear, like the amount of disdain that he has for this cult does not seem is a bit more than you might have let on when you first met the man. He doesn't like it. Speaking of Dr. Marshall and his previous exploits, actually, Zayden, as Renji does this and you're looking around the village, there's one thing you do notice that kind of takes you by surprise. The markers on the doors that indicate that people are afflicted with the Goma plague are still there.
Are we able to see in through a window at any of them?
Yes, you are. You can head over to one of the windows, and you look inside, and you see an individual who is very much still afflicted with the Goma parasite. It's almost as if he has received no treatment for it whatsoever.
I will attempt to drag Renji over to that.
Okay. I was actually thinking of contacting Dr. Marshall. But this is weird. If the doctor hasn't given any treatment here, either there's too many people for it, or
He's not been allowed to?
he doesn't want to. I think a talk is in order, don't you?
Certainly can.
I would like to try and sneak into Dr. Marshall's house.
Okay. Sure. There are several windows and a door. How would you like to enter his abode?
Is the door locked?
You test the lock. It is not locked.
Then I would like to go in through the door.
Okay.
Because I do not want to go in through the window.
Yeah. You open the door and you head inside. You can quite clearly see that the way that Dr. Marshall's clinic is set up is very, very much in his own home, and his home is very small and humble, as said. You can see that basically it is a one-room building that has been split down the middle by a dividing wall. The immediate front is where he keeps his clinic, and at the back you can see that there is a small kitchen and a bed and maybe like one closet, and that's about it. As you kind of open the door, Dr. Marshall looks up to the door to see it open, and shakes his head and already begins moving over to close it, possibly thinking that a breeze has opened the door.
In that case, I'm going to let him close the door after us.
Okay. You let him close the door, and he double checks like the latch and everything, and basically locks himself in with you.
Okay.
And then he goes back over to his table, and he begins, and he continues going through all of his papers, and he, like, as you're in the room, you can see that there's like a series of vials on one desk that seem to have this kind of blue solution in it that has this kind of wisps of orange and stuff. It appears, based on the racks that there are, that he hasn't used any of them.
Okay.
But yeah,
I
otherwise
think
he still
at this
has no idea
time,
there.
I will move a little closer to him. And then just speak out loud. Dr. Marshall.
What? Like
Do you recognize my voice?
Renji?
We are here to check on this village.
I see.
Seems that there are many people still afflicted by the Goma parasite.
He kind of like is continuously looking in each direction. He doesn't know where exactly you are because you're still invisible. So he just kind of like heaves a bit of a sigh, and he takes a chair and he kind of sits down and says, "Yes, well, I was hoping that our rudimentary vaccine that we've been working on," he gestures over to the vials and says, "that we could actually apply them and perhaps help some people, but it seems that my fellow villagers in Mazro are reticent to trust my words."
What's the ringing signify?
He kind of like says it's another they do this 3 times a day. It's not even of any real significance. It's just a moment to reflect upon the givings and benefits of the sovereign hand, and to simply just garner faith. It's nothing but hogwash. But it makes the people happy, and they are more than welcome to it, I suppose. The last couple of times I was there, it was just the priest, Lucian. It's just... Ugh. Lucian was the first person to be so thoroughly enamored with this with this arbiter fellow's words, that he was essentially made the religious leader here. He just drones on and on about the benefits of no longer being afraid of death or any of the pain of life because of X, Y, Z. It's the same sermon every time, just with the words rearranged. It's nothing. I stopped going after a while. I was never swayed in particular, but as someone who would not wish to...
I would like to use insight here, because either he's just down, down on his luck for like people not wanting to help or wanting his help. But I worry.
That's fine.
That's a 4+2.
You can't seem to get a read on him with a 6.
Mhm.
It's difficult to say what he exactly is. It's clear that he's frustrated, but it's hard to say what exactly he's frustrated at.
Given what we've interacted with the Sovereign Hand before, I believe him.
I mean, it makes sense.
He doesn't know how. He may not have known how dangerous they could be, so may as well
Mhm.
play along until
True.
they go.
That's possible. I just don't want to get backstabbed.
We can take him.
Oh,
True.
Dr. Mazro? Yeah, you could fuck him up. He has the stats of a bandit. He's not...
Oh, no.
Why does he have the stats of a bandit? No, I'm kidding.
I knew there was something up, even with that insight of 6.
Oh no.
But yeah, he just kind of shakes his head and says, I have no malice against the people of Mazro. I understand. Things can be scary, but it's... I would much rather that they be more open-minded to finding a remedy for their ills with proven scientific remedies or an attributed certified spellcaster. I don't want them to put their faith in this one person who rolled into town and
That is the
ultimately put them...
Lucian you mentioned?
No, Lucian has been a resident here for the longest time. He's almost as old as I am. No, I mean the Arbiter. Somehow he was
Is the Arbiter here?
No, he left a while ago. Spent a couple of days spreading his gospel, convinced enough people, and then he left, and we haven't seen him since.
Alright. I glance at Zidon if I know where he is, and I just say, I think we need to pay Lucian a visit, maybe after the sermon. I can extend our invisibility for a bit.
Just us?
Make a I would say, since the both of you are in this room, I would make a make an insight.
Can I give Zidon advantage?
It's more something that is occurring to you in the moment.
Okay.
Who?
13.
13's enough. So with the 22 and the 13, you think about it a little more carefully. Dr. Marshall was less likely to run out of his house screaming that there was a haunting going on because you've done that to him before. Like, that's how you met. And he knows your voice, and he knows that he can trust you because you helped him find a vaccine for one of the most deadly plagues in all of Hyrule. He's on your side. Lucian, you've never met before. It's entirely possible that being as much as into the whole Sovereign Hand bit as he is, there's a very decent chance that approaching him while invisible in this fashion may go poorly.
Right. then say maybe we should join our fellows
Yeah,
and
seem like a good idea at this point.
rest up for the night and go back in following morning.
Have a good evening, Doctor.
Have a good evening. As I do not know what your intentions are in regards to this cult. I know I can trust you more than I can trust them, so I shall simply say, be careful.
Good luck with your work.
Thank you. And, that you depart and return to your comrades at the camp.
I drop my invisibility. I immediately use the Pearl of Power from my shield.
Okay.
And then it'll be time for our long rest.
Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing when you get back, you kind of just keep everybody appraised.
Yeah, I mean that if that can be part of the long rest, we
yeah,
don't
that's
do
fine.
anything strenuous.
Yeah, that's all right. You have a rest. You take your respective watches. Thankfully, nothing untoward seems to happen. And as you kind of kill time for the next day, you discuss your like game plan, like what the current situation in Mazro is.
I think we should talk to this Lucian and just figure out how many people there are true believers. As far as I can tell, there's people that just go along with it because they don't want any trouble.
But also, they're letting those people affected by the plague suffer.
That's true.
Okay. So you're going to enter town out in the open?
I
Yeah,
think
not-
so.
Not like the crack of dawn, but like a bit after that. So
Yeah.
it looks like we
Mhm.
just traveled from somewhere nearby.
Yeah, you give it enough time so that when you do approach it, it becomes a believable affair. As you enter
Not
into
just
town,
not just their opening second, like, hello, we would like into your town, please.
yeah. As you approach the town, like you return to the road and you approach the town. As you do so, you see that the guards on the walls they give you a glance, they give you a scan over, like a very brief sort of like assessment, and then they give you a nod, and they don't
Mhm.
ask any further questions. You.
Do I notice any particular attention to any of our symbols that we have here?
I'm gonna go off perception. With passive perceptions, you don't note that they like focus on magic items at all. They just kind of like they give you the scan over and they say, "Dude's got a shield. He's probably just a fighter."
Most general citizens don't know the Shikai symbol, right?
Yeah, they
No,
just...
but the Sheikah eye symbol that I have on my my half plate is a combination of the Sheikah eye and the royal crest of the
Yeah.
Hyrule family.
So
Brilliant.
essentially, basically, when they give you the assessment, they just mostly kind of just like think to them. They probably just think to themselves, "Ah, they look fancy," and then that's it.
Okay.
Like they don't even do what most of the town guards that you've encountered usually do, even on something that is just a standard town guard or anything. They don't stop you to ask you questions upon your entry because you're new here. They just kind of just give you the nod, and then you are able to come in through the open doors. And as you enter, and like other like regular citizens see you as they go about their morning duties or like just talk to people, they also kind of look to you, give you a genuine smile, a little bit of a wave, like a friendly welcoming thing, and then they go right back to what they were doing. Like you clearly stand out, but they're not going to do anything like specific about it. They're not going to rush up to you and be like, "Oh wow, you're out of town, is nice." It's just, yeah, they just acknowledge your existence and are happier for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would ask one of the guards where we can find Lucian.
You head up to one of the guards. He kind of looks to you. He appears to be armed with a short sword, which is strapped to a belt which is wrapped around his cloak, and he kind of gives you the nod and says, "Oh, hello. Sure, no worries. If you're looking for Lucian, he spends essentially all of his time at the church, sir. If you want to go and speak to him there, then by all means just go right on in. He's happy to help to welcome new visitors and everything."
We'll just nod and thank him, and try not to like show any undue worry.
You're welcome. Have a good day. And he goes
You
right
too.
back to his guard duties.
Glance over at the others. Church it is.
Hikan is stiff. He will follow. He is not leading or doing anything in this moment at all.
Yeah.
Max is just like... It's really hard for Max to seem like a normal person, but he's doing his best.
Yeah.
The only reason why Hikan looks stiff and not intimidating is because he's standing next to Max.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to compete.
Yeah. So, you head into the church. The church is the biggest building in Mazro. It's clear that, as mentioned before when you first turned up, that a lot of the religious iconography that was in the church had been removed. But this was more to try and make it a more non-denominational place of worship, which, when you think about it, considering the fact that the dominant, probably only religion within Mazro at the moment is the Sovereign Hand, you'd wonder why they went to such effort to make it non-denominational. But in either case, you head inside, and you can see that it is a very well-constructed, ornate form of like place of worship, probably older than Mazro itself, this church. And you head inside and you see, standing by the altar, kind of just cleaning various things, appears to be one man who does appear to be in robes that is a little more ostentatious compared to everyone else, but only so much as there's like a lining that kind of just adds a bit more definition to his cloak. He appears to be a man who is of the same equivalent age as Dr. Mazro, so somewhere between 30 and 40 years old. He's kind of a widely built Hylian man, with a very short haircut that very much looks like someone who has the same amount of hand-eye coordination as I do, attempted to cut their own hair while blindfolded with no additional help whatsoever. So they basically, like, it's this very haphazard sort of odd lengths in different places haircut. He's pale, and has otherwise very square features. And as you enter, he kind of like turns around and sees newcomers in the church and says, "Oh, hello. Greetings. One moment, please." And he puts down the thing he's holding, and then
As he does that, I blink and cast detect magic.
he does not appear to be magical in any way.
Okay.
Neither does any of the stuff within the church, oddly enough.
Okay.
and he kind of like heads from the podium down to like along the aisle to meet each of you. He says, "Hello, welcome, welcome to our place of worship. Welcome to Mazro. I'm Lucien. It's nice to meet you." He holds out a hand to shake.
I will shake it.
Okay. He gives you a middling handshake.
I just give him a firm handshake.
Aha. Good grip on this one.
Handshake fight.
Oh yeah, he gives up and loses anyway. Yeah, he kind of looks over to each of you, and there's like the edge of a smile on his lips as he looks each of you in the eyes. He doesn't even register the things that you are wearing or wielding. He just looks each of you in the eyes and says, all right, well, welcome to our place of worship. I'm current leader of our little congregation here. It's nice to meet you, each of you. Is there anything I can do to help out at all?
May I ask what the name is of your faith or your religion?
Oh, yeah, of course. We are the people of the Sovereign Hand. Like he just admits it without even like.
Yep. Are you aware that this group, the Sovereign Hand, has committed crimes against the realm?
The smile fades like a bit, and he just kind of like becomes a bit more confused. And he says, "Not that I'm aware of. I just, as far as we could tell, it was just kind of a new sort of philosophy, like a new outlook on the concept of death and where we go in the next life. And it's just, I mean, it's as far.
I'm
crimes,
sorry to say,
say,
but yes, crimes. They have played an active role in the death of Minister of Education Simeon, as well as they have ties with evil organizations such as the.
The ones who attack the palace.
They also had an active role in the attack on the castle and the death of our previous king.
Lucian seems fairly kind of like he just seems continuously more confused. Like he's not sure how to take this immediate information. But he's not like he's not like collapsing in a bout of crisis of faith or anything like that. He's just kind of just like, right. I mean, I don't believe any of us have done anything wrong. I mean,
It also does appear that you are, through coercion, manipulation, or persuasion, are not helping your fellow Mazro villagers in dealing with their ailments.
Right. Well, he kind of like tries to think of a way to sort of word it. Like you can tell clearly that it's like it's not like a case of you got me, fine. It's just a case of like how do I explain?
How to explain? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more or less just a case of like imagine. I hate myself in the way that I'm about to say this, but imagine someone trying to be the most polite anti-vaxxer that you can possibly imagine. That's more or less what he's trying to be, and it's clear he's going to fail anyway. But he basically like says, well, that's the thing. I mean, I can understand that, and by all means, no one within this village is immediately prevented from trying to find appropriate medical help. It's just, if it is, it's important that they have their ability to, make that choice. And in most instances, this is he stops and starts and stops and starts as he kind of like tries, explains it, fails, think no, that doesn't seem like it should be the right way to explain it, and it's not even the case of like he assumes that you won't understand what he's saying. He's just like trying to explain his personal philosophy without sounding like a malicious prick. And as he kind of says after a moment, the
like to make a wisdom saving throw. I'm good at those, but I'd like to make one.
Yeah.
Wait,
go for
are
it.
you going to throw hands? Like
I'm not gonna
literally throw
hand.
them?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
15.
15. Hikan calmly says, "If it's this difficult to figure out how to say it, maybe it's worth thinking about if you should reevaluate it."
Perhaps, but as he kind of like begins to mutter on it a little bit more, he like the bell of the church begins to ring again. It's roughly 9:37 in the morning. It's not like it's not on the hour again, but the bell rings and he looks up and says, "I'm sorry, I have a sermon. I want to talk about this more with each of you.
Who's
I
ringing
really
the
do."
bell?
Oh, that would be Lloyd. He kind of takes the outside ladder up to the clock tower and or the bell tower and does the ringing. But I want to talk about this more with you. I do, because it's important to me that people understand. And I said, I know that I don't doubt what you're saying in regards to crimes against the realm, but what I want to make sure is that you understand where I'm coming from with this. I'd love it, if possible, if you could stay in a sermon just for a bit. They last for 20 minutes, and we can. You're more than welcome to afterwards come back to me. We'll have a talk about this, and we'll go from there. Is that all right?
Glance over at the others. I am not happy.
What part of anything we have said so far makes you think that we would simply let you continue to convince people of this?
And also, let me explain who we are and why we are here. I am Baron Renji Vox, heir of Nihilus Vox. I am with my companions here, empowered by the crown to deal with any dangers to the crown. And the sovereign hand...
I would like to say in Shika to Renji, the guards in Castletown tried a similar approach, and it did not work on them. Threatening them here is not going to help.
I do take that. Think on it for a moment. What I mean to say is we are not here as just some people. And I would urge you to consider where your loyalties lie, in the sense that what you may see as a harmless or beneficial philosophy is, from what we have experienced, a manipulative cult bent on destroying the stability of the realm and out to use the deaths of people to further their own schemes. And I would like to persuade him
Okay.
of the truth of these words.
All right. As you
Also,
roll your
my cloak is
persuasion.
billowing.
Your cloak is bit, yes, but it is not a mantle of Pontifica Dramatica, so
That
it
is
doesn't give
true.
you additional benefits. So
I
go
mean, I do want to point it out.
That's fine. That's okay.
It's a 24.
All right.
I was gonna say Max wanted to help by saying
Okay.
we're not telling you to stop believing. We just want you to understand what it is you believe.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say that gives advantage. So feel free to roll
Okay.
again.
Just
32.
32.
Nice.
Thank you
I mean,
very much, Max.
it's quite clear that your words give him pause. Like it's essentially what he wants to do is he wants to try not necessarily to convince you to join or anything. He just kind of like
He wants to present his argument.
yeah, he wants to present his argument, and besides the sermons that he's been doing, it's clear that he's not great at doing that in like a debate sort of function. He so when you kind of like try like explain that, he kind of sits and thinks a moment in the longest silence as you can
Perhaps
see
we
the
could
kind of twisting.
postpone this sermon?
As you say that, the doors of the church have opened, and a throng of people, they don't run in, they just kind of like begin entering in a crowd, and they stop as they see the four of you in the middle of the aisle. And one of them says,
I'm just gonna position myself so that they don't come too close to the conversation.
yeah. They one of them kind of pipes up from the back and says, Lucian, you all right? And Lucian just kind of looks up and he puts on a smile. It's not the perfect mask or anything like that, but it's just clearly a case of like, it's okay. Just it might be a little bit of time. If you can like wait outside just a little bit and just talking to these nice people. One member of the crowd rolls an 18 on their insight check and says, Are you okay? Are you okay? And Lucian says, it is fine. It's fine. Just let me talk to these nice people here. It'll be okay. I would like every spellcaster in the party to make a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh. Only a
I get
13.
advantage.
What gives you advantage?
Is it
That's only for concentration.
8.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we're all gonna die. It's great.
Oh
So,
no.
Essentially what this is as he's saying this, you know the feeling that you get when you go over a bump in the road and you feel like your stomach lurch a bit? That's what you feel. As something kind of the air sucks in real quick and then expels outward. Renji, you get a 13, so you kind of like you gird yourself a little and like shake it off really quickly. Max and Zayden, you have with your 8s, you have you kind of get this lingering feeling.
I'm gonna just drop onto one of the chairs.
Yeah, you just kind of so you're not knocked prone or anything, but for the next round, you are afflicted with the poisoned condition. as the nausea feels quite overpowering. Hikan, as a non-spellcaster, you feel this wave of pressure, but nothing seems to, like, other than that, you feel fine. Much the same with every member of the village in there, and they are just as confused as you are.
That's just Matt's just
Where is this coming from? Because I do see like magical energies within a 30-foot range.
You see this as a wave of... I just need to find the appropriate spell.
Meanwhile, Max is just grumbling, what the hell was that?
Yeah, if I have an action, there's going to be a ignition of aspiration as my
you feel an
Sunblade
overwhelming wave of conjuration manifest from all directions.
all directions.
All directions. It just peels through the wall and goes back out again. And
Okay.
Hikan and Renji, as the people who are on the not knocked around by this, you're the first to notice the open door behind you. It is no longer a clear night sky. It is darkness. And we will pick that up next episode.
The thing that we can go out on is me igniting my sunblade in the darkness.
Yep. And
Okay.
we will, we'll see you guys on the next episode of Hyrule Chronicles. This has been Articulate T as the Game Master for Legend of Zelda's Hyrule Chronicles. As always, I have Baron Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad.
There's me.
I have Baron Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
You know, he might not be here, but I could use some lizard scale boots right about now.
I have Baron Zayden Shari being played by Robo Pirate.
Not gonna stay dark for long.
And I have Baron Max being played by Keisteth.
I survived the heat for
Yay.
today.
Yay.
Huzzah.
We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.